One significant alteration to the beginnings of Alexander Skarsgård's titular character and its moniker was made in the Murderbot adaptation for Apple TV+. The Murderbot series on Apple TV+, which is based on Martha Wells's Murderbot Diaries books, has been remarkably true to its original plot. However, the program has also changed significantly from the novels. For instance, two members of the Preservation O survey crew, Oversay and Volescu, are absent from the Murderbot cast. Furthermore, a number of significant plot pieces had become out of sequence by the end of Murderbot Episode 2. But the most significant alteration to the program concerns Murderbot's moniker. Despite being a SecUnit with an official numerical identification, Murderbot gained free will and was able to choose name after breaking into its governor module. Although it ultimately went with the perfectly fitting Murderbot, the SecUnit's name had a different literary foundation. The Murderbot show will need to put in to recreate the deeper, darker, and more emotionally charged Murderbot's namesake from the books. Murderbot. Deciding its new name had a much darker and more meaningful origin in the books. Murderbot's chosen moniker in the Murderbot Diaries volumes had a convoluted history. Murderbot's desire to kill people without distinction was a major contributing factor, but it decided to put that objective on hold while it watched stream broadcasts. But Murderbot's involvement in the Ganaka pit slaughter was a more significant factor in its choice of moniker. Murderbot was aware that it was responsible for the deaths of 57 people on a mining outpost, and the moniker Murderbot was partially an indication of its guilt, even though it didn't fully recall Ganaka pit until artificial condition. But the moniker Murderbot doesn't have quite the same emotional connotations in the Murderbot show. Not long after hacking its governor module, Murderbot decided that its numerical designations, Freedom Unit and Roguebot, were inadequate and simply picked its name. At that point, Murderbot had forgotten even about the Ganaka pit tragedy. Based on the 7,000 hours of footage it viewed, it reported that it had begun to have memories of the slaughter shortly before the Preservation O contract, which occurred about a year after it hacked the governor module. As a result, Murderbot's moniker doesn't carry the same emotive or guilt-laden connotations as the books. Murderbot living with the guilt of the massacre was a core part of its emotional book journey. Even though it may appear insignificant, Apple TV Plus's alteration to the name of Murderbot has some significant ramifications. Murderbot's self-image and feelings of remorse were greatly impacted by the Ganaka pit slaughter. As was already revealed, that guilt affected its perception of itself and all SecUnits, and that was one of the reasons it called itself Murderbot. The majority of Murderbot's character journey in the books focused on overcoming that trauma and bad self-image because of Ganaka Pit, who made it believe that it was a machine made just for murdering. Murderbot believed that the Ganaka Pit slaughter characterized it for a large portion of its existence as a free SecUnit. Even without all the information, it was obvious that it felt about participating in the killing, and the fact that a virus assault was to blame didn't make Murderbot feel any better. Murderbot didn't want to be a killing machine, which is one of the reasons it is so committed to defending and rescuing people throughout the books, despite its disdain for them. The Apple TV Plus series undermined the Ganaka Pit massacre and the anguish it caused, which played a significant role in Murderbot's emotional journey in the book. Even though Ganaka Pit won't be the inspiration for Murderbot's name, there is still a lot of evidence to imply that it will be, given the emotional weight it merits bolster his suspicions of the SecUnit. Gurathan, David Dastmalchian, will probably locate a more thorough report on the massacre which he has previously addressed Murderbot about. Despite not being its namesake, the Ganaka Pit slaughter ought to be a significant and poignant aspect of Apple TV Plus's Murderbot adaptation.